function. So friend function as well as friend class. So the basic meaning of friend function or friend class is what, like in real world also, when we say she is my friend or he is my friend, what do we do? Generally with friends, we share our secrets, right? So when we are calling anyone as friend, we share the secret. So similarly, same concept is available applicable in programming. If one class is saying that this function is my friend, okay, this function is my friend, that means what? That class is ready to share its secret with that function. Are you getting? This is important statement. See, if any class is saying that, say here, for example, just a moment. If any class, a class A is there, okay, and this class is saying that any function, any random function, I will call it as function 1. This function 1, it is return type can be int, void, whatever is there, what any function is available here. But see, this class is having its own private members. Suppose here int I have declared, or maybe to make it more relevant, we'll say it as some password. Okay, PWD I'll use short form password. Okay, so some password I am this is account class, say for example. Okay, account class is there, some password is there. Now this password I don't want to share with the outside world, so I made it as private. But for some reason, like this function, with this function, I have to share the password. There is no choice. This function is secure also. And with this outside function, this function, what is the condition with private data? Like here in public section, if I declare any function, say display, in this display function, can I access this password? Can I say pwd equal to some value? Can I initialize it, or can I display its value? Is it possible? Is it allowed?
Yes.
It is allowed. Why is it allowed? Why I can access this password inside this function? This is private variable, but still it is allowed. Why?
Because the
Member
function
function.
belongs to that particular class.
Huh. Can you repeat, please? Because
The function belongs to the particular class where
password
it has been
is declared.
declared.
Correct.
Yes.
So this password and this display function both are member of the same class. Okay, account के ही दोनों member है. So then in that case it is allowed. Yes, this display is a member of the same class. So password can be accessed, though it is private. लेकिन एक ही class के member है, तो they can access it. Okay. But now suppose this function which I'm declaring here, let's say this function I'm defining here. Okay, it is not a member of this class, है ना? मैं बाहर कहीं तो define कर रही हूँ. This function I'm defining somewhere outside. It is not part of this account class. इसका purpose कुछ अलग है. Apart from that account class, the purpose of this function is completely different. So I will not put this function inside this account class. Account class के अपने खुद के functions है, like withdraw or maybe verify your password or PIN. Deposit, mini statement, so it is having its own set of function. लेकिन ये जो function है, this is different from those traditional functions of account class, है कि नहीं? तो then in that case I'll declare this function outside the class. ये function इस class का part नहीं है. This function does not belong to this class account, है ना? So my next question is, can I access this password variable over here in that case?
No.
Not allowed? Yes. What is
Yes,
the
ma'am.
reason? What is the reason?
It is not inside the class function.
Right. This function does not belong to this account class. इसका पार्ट नहीं है ये फंक्शन, ये इसका पार्ट है अकाउंट का, बट दिस इज इंडिपेंडेंट फंक्शन, ठीक है ना. सो हियर आई कैन नॉट एक्सेस. सो वन मेथड इज दैट, मैं क्या कर सकती हूँ, एक say int main. In this int main, what I can do is I'll declare one object of this obj, ठीक है, और मैं अभी से from here I'm calling this function 1, ठीक है. Now should I call this function 1 on object obj dot, ऐसे कॉल करना है function 1 को?
No.
No. Why? Because this function is not part of this class. तो अगर वो independent function है तो independently call करना है. Whereas if I have to call display function, how to call that display function? Using object dot display. So this difference you need to understand first. ये independent function है, it is not part of this class. यहाँ पे नहीं लिखा है मैंने, this is independent function. तो इसको independently call करेंगे. Whereas this display function belongs to account class, so it has to be called on object. So first thing you need to make this point very clear. ठीक है. Now in this function, if I have to access password, I cannot directly access. तो मैं ऐसे कर सकती हूँ क्या? This is just I'm asking you, is it possible कि मैं यहाँ से एक object, this object which I have created, I'll pass it as input argument to this function 1, और यहाँ पे मैं collect कर लूंगी उसे. Let us call it as object 1. ठीक है, इसको यहाँ से पास करेंगे because see this is independent function, so it cannot access these members. तो मैंने क्या कर दिया, अकाउंट का एक ऑब्जेक्ट करके मैंने आई एम पासिंग इट टू दैट फंक्शन, एंड देन थ्रू दैट ऑब्जेक्ट आई एम ट्राइंग टू एक्सेस दिस पासवर्ड. मतलब मैं क्या करूंगी, अब यहाँ पे ऑब्जेक्ट 1 डॉट पासवर्ड ऐसे एक्सेस करूंगी. सो नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज इट अलाउड दिस? आपको क्या लगता है, व्हाट योर फीलिंग्स इज?
No, ma'am.
No,
It will not be.
नो. I'll give one more variation in this program. ये आपको example ठीक से समझना है. I'm telling you this is important example you need to understand. Here I'm covering all the aspects actually. So here say I'm declaring int or कुछ variable like any variable हाँ name of the customer, ठीक है. So तो name of the customer कैसे हो गया, ये ID लेते हैं या account number लेते हैं, है ना. Account number generally we can keep it in public because for transaction purpose we have to share that with others, है ना. तो account number suppose I kept in private, public. So now using this, now see here you need to understand the flow. In main what I've done, I created one object of account class, ठीक है. This function is independent function, ये इसका part नहीं है, independent कोई function है for some calculation. कुछ है उसका फॉर्म 16 भरना है, क्या बोलते हैं फॉर्म 15G and all that, some income tax related thing is there. So it is income tax is a independent thing, it is not part of that account, है कि नहीं. but account की कुछ information लगती है income tax को. तो this is say for example calculating that income tax things, okay. So I need some information from this account, but income tax is not a part of your account. ये तो आप agree करोगे? Do you agree with this statement?
Yes, ma'am.
है ना. Income tax is an independent entity. Account, your customer account, bank account is an independent entity. तो एक function को मैं इसका part नहीं कर सकती हूँ. This is suppose income tax related calculation, है कि नहीं. क्योंकि हम जो भी FDs रखते हैं account में या जो भी है जो calculations है, we have to pay some tax to the government for all those incomes also. तो यहाँ पे उस calculation के लिए I need some data from account class. So if this is independent function, first important thing is I have to create the object of this class, and to this function I can pass that object as input parameter. मैं pass करूंगी वो object, तो through object I can access all these variables. Directly नहीं कर सकते because this is independent function. So I'm passing that object to that function, and through this object I can access all the data of this class. Now, if I can access the data, can I access account number over here? Object one dot account number. Is it allowed? ये चलेगा? This is valid statement.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. What is the reason behind it?
Account number is public.
Yes, account number is declared in the public section. Okay, so public section is what it is, or public scope. Public scope is what all these variables that account class is ready to share all these data or function with the outside world. Matlab, this class is agreed that this data or these functions can be shared to the outside world. तो मैं यहाँ पे account number को access कर सकती हूँ. Okay, but now next statement is cout obj1 dot password. Is it allowed? Next question.
No.
No?
No.
क्यों नहीं हो सकता? डिफरेंस क्या है ये दोनों में? अकाउंट नंबर एंड पासवर्ड में व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस?
Private public.
Right. Password is declared in the private scope and this is in the public scope. So whatever you make as declare in the private scope is only available for all these functions which are part of the same class. ये बाहर के function के लिए वो allowed नहीं है. Not even through object. Object के through भी नहीं वो access कर सकते. Okay, this is not allowed. So this is invalid statement. You will get error here. This is invalid statement. The second statement which I have written is invalid. ठीक है ना? So, but now income tax, say for example, income tax department needs this information. Only income tax. बाकी सारे function को आप share नहीं करना चाहते ये password. लेकिन with the income tax department for some reason we have to share, for example. तो in that case मैं एक ही फंक्शन को शेयर करना चाहती हूँ. ये मेरा जो प्राइवेट डेटा है, I would like to share it with this income tax वाला thing, but I don't want to share it with other function. मतलब बाकी भी इस प्रोग्राम में बाकी सारे functions classes रहेंगे, तो I don't want to share it with those function, those classes. Only with this income tax, I'll call it as income tax calculation, है ना? तो ज्यादा relevant हो जाएगा. So income tax calculation is the function name. So with this function, I'm ready to share this password, but not with the outside. ठीक है ना? So what I'll do, अब किसके साथ share करते हैं हम हमारे secret? With friends. So same concept is applicable here. I'll declare this this function as my friend. मैं इस फंक्शन को मेरा फ्रेंड बना लूंगी, मतलब इस क्लास का फ्रेंड बना लूंगी. सो व्हाट आई डू हियर, आई मेंशन दैट फंक्शन हियर. ठीक है, मैंने ये फंक्शन यहाँ पे डाल दिया एज इट इज. जो इसका सिग्नेचर है फंक्शन का, आई पुट इट हियर. And then in front of it, now अगर मैंने यहाँ पे directly डाल दिया तो इसका meaning क्या हो जाएगा? Directly डाल दिया तो what is the meaning of this? If I put this function,
Member function.
हाँ, member function.
Member function.
Right. If I put it directly here, then this will be treated as a member function of account class. लेकिन income tax department, is it a member of your own class, your own account? नहीं. इनकम टैक्स इज अ इंडिपेंडेंट थिंग. वो आपका मेंबर कैसे कर सकते हो? आप नहीं कर सकते हो लीगली, राइट? इनकम टैक्स इज अ इंडिपेंडेंट कैलकुलेशन. सो फॉर दैट पर्पस आई डोंट वांट टू मेक दिस एज मेंबर ऑफ माय क्लास. मैं रीजन के साथ एक्सप्लेन कर रही हूँ. This is something you need to understand. With valid example I'm explaining. If you understand this relevance, then understanding syntax is very simple thing. Okay, so please focus on this. So here I don't want to make this function as member of this class क्योंकि income tax department is independent thing. It cannot be a member of my account, bank account, है ना? So I cannot declare it here like this. So what I'll do, I'll make this as my friend. So if I make this as my friend, what will happen just by adding this friend keyword? मैंने क्या किया, सिर्फ उसके आगे ये friend लगा दिया. So with this, what will happen? Your compiler will understand that this function is friend of this account class, and it is not a member function of this class. With this friend keyword, two things will be clear to the compiler. पहली तो ये है कि this function is a friend of account class. Second, it is friend and not a member function. Okay? अगर आपने ये friend नहीं लगाया तो आप access कर सकते हो उसे. If I remove this friend keyword, in that case you can access password, क्योंकि ये जो function है ये आपका part हो गया, member function हो गया, तो now you can access password. No harm in that. लेकिन प्रॉब्लम क्या है यहाँ पे, why I'm not declaring this as member function? The reason is that this is independent entity. This is not part of your bank account, है ना? तो आप उसका part नहीं कर सकते हो legally. So in that case, what is the middle solution for me? I'll declare this as my friend. So now two things are clear to a compiler. First one is this is not a member function, but this is a friend function. Friend function to account. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ कि this function can access all the variables of this class irrespective of its scope. Scope उसका private होने दो, public होने दो, whatever is there, this income tax calculation function can access all these variables and function. मतलब password, account number, display function, even anything can be accessed inside this income tax calculation. Okay, it can be accessed everywhere. So by making it as friend, we are ready to share the private scope variables also here. Right? In real world also we use this terminology in a similar manner. Friend है तो we share the secret. Similarly, class के लिए secret क्या है? It's private data. So we are ready to share private data with the friends. Is it clear? Is it clear?
Yes,
what is the relevance of friend? See, importance आपको understand करना है पहले तो किसी भी concept का. So first question is it clear? Importance of making any function as friend.
Yes, ma'am.
Can anyone brief me like whatever you have understood? Anyone? Or randomly I'll call some roll numbers. Let us see, because sometimes what happen ना कि वही दो तीन लोग बोलते रहते हैं. So randomly I'll call any roll number. Yes, roll number 10, 310. Are you attending the class? Roll number 10 is absent. Okay. Do not try to leave the meeting for this reason. Don't leave the meeting for this reason. Hereafter, I'll keep the same practice. If you if you want to attend, you need to answer the questions also. So, roll number 1, Om Gupta.
Yes, ma'am.
So, what you have understood with friend function?
Friend function is not the part of the class, but friend function can access all the. But if it is declared that a function is a friend of the class, then it can access all the elements and functions inside the class.
Irrespective of its scope, private, public, है ना? Yes, very correct. Yes, so thank you. So this is the meaning of adding friend keyword in front of any function. This function is independent function. It is not part of the class, but it is friend of the class. So friend of the class matlab it can access all those variables and functions. ठीक है ना? But you cannot directly access it. It is you can access it through object. अब ये member function, see one more important difference. This is member function. So here in member function we can directly access the password. We do not need any object here. Obj dot ऐसे करने की जरूरत नहीं है, because this is member function. Whereas friend is not a member function. So if you want to access those variable, it has to be through object. So object dot account, object dot password. So like that only you can access, because it is non-member function. बस friend से क्या हुआ कि आपको access rights दे दिए. एक्सेस राइट्स आर गिवन, बट व्हेनेवर यू आर एक्सेसिंग किसी दूसरे की प्रॉपर्टी आप एक्सेस करते हो तो डायरेक्टली यू कैन एक्सेस इट. आपको मेंशन करना पड़ेगा कि ये प्रॉपर्टी बिलोंग्स टू दिस ऑब्जेक्ट, इजंट इट? आप फ्रेंड भी हो तो दिस पर्टिकुलर थिंग बिलोंग्स टू दैट ऑब्जेक्ट. यू हैव टू क्लियरली मेंशन इट, right? So that whenever a friend function is there, you can access those variable but using the object, whereas for member function you can directly access those variables. So that is one more difference you need to note here. Is it clear? Friend function to everyone. So now
Yes.
so now we'll go through the slides if you have understood the concept. A friend function is used to allow access to private or protected. Protected scope we haven't covered yet. This will be discussed in the next chapter. But private, now we'll focus on private. So a friend function is used to allow access to private data in a class from the non-member function. So non-member function can access the private data. This is the meaning of first statement. The non-member function can be independent function, जैसे कि हमने यहाँ पे लिखा है, और member of another class. यहाँ पे see this income tax is it a member of any other class?
No.
No, it is independent function, है ना? और ऐसे भी हो सकता है कि this function is member of another class, मतलब वहां पे भी आप एक्सेस राइट दे सकते हो. सो दिस इज इंडिपेंडेंट फंक्शन. और कोई एक क्लास बी है, क्लास बी के अंदर और एक फंक्शन है, लाइक दिस इनकम टैक्स फॉर एग्जांपल, आई मेक इट एज अ पार्ट ऑफ अनदर क्लास, और वहां पे आपको एक्सेस करना है. सो दैट इज ऑल्सो अलाउड. So independent function can also access, or member of another class also can access the private data if you make it as friend function. Income tax calculation function need to access private attribute, example salary from employee class. तो जैसे हमने यहाँ पे इनकम टैक्स कैलकुलेशन फॉर बैंक अकाउंट लिया है, वैसे यहाँ पे एम्प्लॉयज के इनकम टैक्स कैलकुलेशन भी होते हैं. तो इनकम टैक्स कैलकुलेशन फंक्शन कैन एक्सेस द प्राइवेट एट्रीब्यूट ऑफ द एम्प्लॉय क्लास. सैलरी जनरली वी कीप इट इन द प्राइवेट स्कोप, तो सैलरी को एक्सेस देना पड़ेगा आपको इनकम टैक्स कैलकुलेशन के लिए. ओके, सो दिस इज द एग्जाम्पल. This is simple example. We have actually we have taken more specific example here. This is simple example. Class A, integer I. Here I haven't mentioned the scope. So what does it mean? What is the default scope for class?
Private.
Private. So if I don't mention, automatically this integer I will be treated as private member. In public, this is what constructor. I'm assigning this x value to I, constructor hai, and then I'm making this display function as friend of this class. A class का friend कर दिया हमने यहाँ पे. And then in main what I've done, I'm creating the object of class A and I'm calling display function. I'm passing this object as input parameter. Now here, using this input parameter object, I'm accessing the value of I here. Though it is private, but I can access I. The reason is that I've declared this function as friend of this class A. Okay, so this is the example, and this is more relevant example, you can say. Yes, whatever we have discussed. So this is about friend function, just accessing the private members of that class. That is the meaning of friend function. Next concept is friend class. Friend class अब क्यों लगता है? See now. Now suppose this is what to one independent function you are giving rights of this accessing this private data. लेकिन कभी-कभी क्या होता है कि सारे, like say here I declare another class, इनकम टैक्स डिपार्टमेंट के लिए ये क्लास आपने बनाया फॉर एग्जांपल, एंड इन दिस क्लास दिस फंक्शन इज अ पार्ट ऑफ दिस क्लास फॉर एग्जांपल. ठीक है, दिस फंक्शन इज पार्ट ऑफ दिस क्लास. इनकम टैक्स डिपार्टमेंट है, उसका पार्ट है. Again, one more function is there in this income tax class. display function. तो इस फंक्शन के लिए भी आपको कुछ अकाउंट ऑब्जेक्ट का डेटा चाहिए. So there are many functions which need to access the private data of account class. मतलब account class जो आपका बैंक अकाउंट का जो क्लास है उसमें private keyword password is there. So this password, this access of this password, we want to share with all the functions of this income tax class. अब तक कैसे था कि ये इंडिपेंडेंट फंक्शन था आपका. इनकम टैक्स कैलकुलेशन वाज इंडिपेंडेंट फंक्शन. दैट वाज वन एग्जांपल. अनदर एग्जांपल में, इस दूसरे एग्जांपल में हमें कैसे चाहिए कि जो इनकम टैक्स कैलकुलेशन के जितने सारे फंक्शंस है, टू ऑल दोस फंक्शन आई वांट टू गिव द एक्सेस ऑफ दिस पासवर्ड फॉर सम कैलकुलेशन रीजन. मतलब एक ही फंक्शन को नहीं देना है मुझे, हर एक फंक्शन को देना है. तो मुझे एक तो क्या करना पड़ेगा, एवरीवेयर ऑल द फंक्शन. यहाँ पे 4-5 फंक्शन लिखे हैं फॉर एग्जांपल मैंने. All those 4-5 function I need to make friend of this. Void display, then account. ऐसे करके मुझे वो सारे, like here 4 to 5 functions are there in this class, and all 4 to 5 function want to access this private data, and this account is ready to share that data. ठीक है ना? So what I need to do, वो 4-5 जितने भी फंक्शन है, I need to make them as friend of this class. So instead of that, इतना रिपीटेशन करने से बेटर है कि I'll make one shortcut. What I'll do is I'll make this entire class as friend. मैं इसको क्लास ही बना दूंगी, क्लास इनकम टैक्स. So what I'm doing here, this class income tax, मैंने यहाँ पे क्या लिखा, instead of that function I have written class income tax, और उसके आगे मैंने friend लगा दिया कि class income tax is my friend. This class is my friend. So if this class is my friend, anything belongs to that class can access the private members. इस क्लास में जितने सारे functions है वो सब access कर सकते हैं private data को. Public तो anyway available है ही, but private also it can access. Okay, so in such situations we make that entire class as my friend. जहां पे ऐसी सिचुएशन है कि आपको सारे फंक्शन के साथ शेयर करना है प्राइवेट डेटा, सो यू बेटर मेक दैट एंटायर क्लास एज फ्रेंड. और कहीं पे सिचुएशन ऐसे होता है कि एक ही फंक्शन को देना है आपको, राइट, बाकी सारे इसको देना नहीं है, तो इन दैट केस डू नॉट मेक एंटायर क्लास एज फ्रेंड, जस्ट मेक दैट फंक्शन एज योर फ्रेंड. उस स्पेसिफिक फंक्शन को आपका फ्रेंड कर लो. ठीक है ना? एंड नाउ वन मोर चेंज वी नीड टू मेक हियर. अगर ये फंक्शन आपका मेंबर फंक्शन हो गया तो क्या चेंज करना चाहिए आपको यहाँ पे? Scope resolution, correct? Okay, so while declaring it you need to add the scope that this function belongs to now this class. So that important change you need to make. So is it clear now the difference between friend function, any function making friend of any class, or making entire class as friend of this class? पूरे क्लास को ही आपने फ्रेंड कर दिया, मतलब सारे फंक्शन एक्सेस कर सकते हैं इसके प्राइवेट डेटा को. मतलब पासवर्ड का एक्सेस आपने इस फंक्शन को भी दिया है, इस फंक्शन जितने भी फंक्शंस है इस इनकम टैक्स क्लास में, all those function can access this password if you make that entire class as your friend. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
It's clear.
Yeah, okay. But now next question, suppose यहाँ पे प्राइवेट एंड इनकम टैक्स कैलकुलेशंस के लिए उनके कुछ प्राइवेट डेटा होते हैं, कुछ लाइक आई डोंट नो इनकम टैक्स कैलकुलेशन के लिए क्या होगा प्राइवेट डेटा, उनके कुछ सीक्रेट डेटा रहते होंगे, लाइक सम उनके पासवर्ड और समथिंग लाइक दैट, देयर ओन पिन, जस्ट हाइपोथेटिकली टेक वन एग्जांपल, देयर ओन पिन,
Yes.
है ना? तो उनका भी खुद का अपना एक प्राइवेट डेटा है इनकम टैक्स डिपार्टमेंट के लिए. So like this PIN you can access in this this income tax calculation because it is member of the same class. Now in this display function, can I access PIN? ये next है. आपको अगर फ्रेंड फंक्शन समझ में आया तो यू आंसर दिस क्वेश्चन ऑल्सो. कैन आई एक्सेस दिस पिन ओवर हियर फ्रॉम इनकम टैक्स बिकॉज दे आर फ्रेंड्स ना. इज इट पॉसिबल?
No.
No.
चलो ऑब्जेक्ट के थ्रू करते हैं. मतलब लाइक आई से इनकम टैक्स, this is the class name and this is the object I have created, OB, and then I'm saying OB dot pin. Chalega? Now is it fine?
No.
No.
Still not? Why? Why is it invalid?
No, हमें इनकम
क्योंकि
टैक्स क्लास में
अकाउंट
भी
वाला
फ्रेंड
इनकम टैक्स का फ्रेंड नहीं है.
Right. Perfect. See here, this class is accepting income tax as his friend. Okay, but income tax has not accepted this account class as its friend. Okay, इस class ने इसे friend करके accept किया. In real world also it happens. You accept somebody as your friend, you share everything, but वो जो दूसरा person है, not necessarily he accepts you as a friend. Maybe वो आप share करते हो उससे, वो नहीं share करेगा, possible है. So like that only, this income tax is a friend of account. ये इस क्लास ने एक्सेप्ट कर लिया इसे फ्रेंड क्लास. सो दिस क्लास इज रेडी टू शेयर इट्स प्राइवेट डेटा, बट इनकम टैक्स ने उसे एक्सेप्ट नहीं किया एज ए फ्रेंड. सो इनकम टैक्स वोंट शेयर इट्स प्राइवेट डेटा विद दैट. सो दिस इज नॉट अलाउड, नॉट इवन थ्रू ऑब्जेक्ट. ऑब्जेक्ट के थ्रू भी नहीं अलाउ करेगा. नो वे टू एक्सेस द प्राइवेट मेंबर ऑफ दिस क्लास. ये कब एक्सेस होगा? व्हाट यू नीड टू डू? अगर आपको ये अलाउ करना है, if this class is ready to share this pin with account, what you need to do? आपको
Friend
इस
class
क्लास को,
account.
हाँ यस, इस क्लास को के साथ उस क्लास को फ्रेंड करना पड़ेगा. लाइक यू नीड टू से दैट this income tax also takes this account class as his friend, then only it is allowed. Are you getting? ये one way flow है. अगर आपने यहाँ पे नहीं लिखा है this जनरली वन वे फ्लो ही होता है, ऐसे ही होता है. इन रियल वर्ल्ड ऑल्सो इट हैपेंस. लाइक मतलब इनकम टैक्स कैलकुलेशन का भी आप एग्जांपल ले लो. इनकम टैक्स डिपार्टमेंट वोंट शेयर देयर डेटा विद द अकाउंट. अकाउंट का डेटा उनके साथ शेयर होता है, वो अपना डेटा नहीं शेयर करते हमसे. सो इन जनरल ऑल्सो दिस सिचुएशन जनरली सीन मोस्ट प्रोबेबली कि एक साइड से ही होता है. लाइक अकाउंट इज एक्सेप्टिंग income tax as its friend. So this data is shared with this, but opposite is not possible unless you make this as friend of income tax. वो आपको अलग से लिखना पड़ेगा, तब वो two way flow हो जाएगा. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay, so now coming to your slides. So हाँ, one important thing यहाँ पे एक हमने मिस कर दिया. Like here when I'm saying class income tax is my friend, लेकिन this is step by step execution. कब excuse me, this class account, यहाँ से आपका compilation कहाँ से start होगा? Line by line. Execution will start from main. ठीक है ना? Execution आपका कहाँ से start होता है? main से. लेकिन compilation तो line by line होगा. So compilation will start from this first line. So with this, ये compilation जैसे एक एक line होती जाएगी. So here income tax class को तो आपने अभी तक डिक्लेयर किया ही नहीं है. इनकम टैक्स आपने कहाँ पे डिक्लेयर किया? यहाँ पे. और उससे पहले ही आप उसको रेफर कर रहे हो. सो इन दैट केस फॉरवर्ड डिक्लेरेशन इज रिक्वायर्ड. जस्ट आप एक कंपाइलर को बोल दो कि आई एम गोइंग टू डिक्लेयर दिस पर्टिकुलर क्लास आफ्टरवर्ड्स. एक फॉरवर्ड डिक्लेरेशन इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाता है बिकॉज यू आर यूजिंग इट बिफोर डिक्लेरेशन ऑफ इट. यहाँ पे आपने उसको डिक्लेयर किया लेकिन यूज तो आपने पहले से ही कर दिया यहाँ पे. So this forward declaration is important here. This first line, ठीक है ना? So class A, I'm making class B as friend of this class. Okay, so this forward declaration is important here. So what does this statement means? All methods of class B can access the private members of class A, but through object. Class B क्या है? All methods of class B access कर सकता है A के सारे members को through object. Okay, opposite is not possible. This is example, another example. ये forward declaration हो गया, class A integer I, and I'm making this class B as friend of this class A. Okay, what does it mean? That this private member, private data can be accessed in all the functions of class B. एक minute, I need to have. Okay, so with this, what will happen? This class B is a friend of class A. So class B, all the methods of class B can access this private member I. Okay, ये बस एक constructor है आपका A class का, wherein value of I is initialized to X. Now in class B, this increment and decrement, two methods are there, increment and decrement. So increment में what I want to do, increment the value of I. तो यहाँ पे like here I am passing the object of A class, है ना? I belongs to which class? A. तो मुझे अगर यहाँ पे B class में उसे access करना है तो I have to create the object of class A here. Through object I can access that value of I. I'm incrementing its value by 1 and then I'm displaying its value. Increment में क्या कर रहे हैं हम, इसकी value increment करके display कर रहे हैं. But this access to this private member is possible because this class B is declared as a friend of this class. ठीक है ना? And in decrement function, I'm decrementing its value by 1 and displaying. And from main, how to call these functions? These two functions I need to call increment and decrement, but to these two functions I need to pass object of A class. तो मैंने object of A class एक create किया है और object of B class create किया है. ठीक है? Increment decrement I need to call on which object? Object of B. तो object of B dot increment, and what is the input parameter to that? Object of A class. A class का object आप pass कर रहे हो input. Similarly for decrement operation also you are passing A object as input parameter. Okay, तो यहाँ पे output क्या आएगा आपका? First I am calling the constructor, है ना? तो x की वैल्यू क्या हो गई आपकी यहाँ पे 10, I की वैल्यू क्या हो गई 10, right?
10.
हाँ. Now B object dot increment और मैं A object को पास करनी हूँ, तो यहाँ पे A object को collect करके we are incrementing its value and displaying. So what will be the output? 11, right? And then I'm calling decrement function. तो decrement में हमने उसकी value एक से कम करके displaying. So what is the output now?
10.
10, right? Clear? So these this is how we can use friend function or friend class concept based on your requirement. अब क्या करना चाहिए, friend function करना चाहिए, friend class करना चाहिए, whether it is required or not, that decision has to be taken by the programmer based on the application requirement. आप जो project पे काम कर रहे हो उसमें वो essential है या नहीं है, so accordingly you need to take that decision whether to use the friend concept or not. और friend concept use कर रहे हो तो friend function use करना चाहिए कि friend class. I already told you when to use friend function. In suppose यहाँ पे सिर्फ आपको इंक्रीमेंट को एक्सेस देना है, ये प्राइवेट मेंबर का आई का एक्सेस कहाँ पे देना है? ओनली टू इंक्रीमेंट, नॉट टू डिक्रीमेंट. इन दैट केस व्हाट इज द प्रेफरेबल मेथड?
Function.
हाँ, फ्रेंड फंक्शन. एक ही फंक्शन को, एक या दो फंक्शन को आपको देना है. आपके बी क्लास में सपोज यहाँ पे 10 अलग अलग फंक्शन, 10 different functions are there in B class. Out of that you want to give access of this private member to only one or two function. In that case you can declare those two function as friend function, क्योंकि आपको वो एक या दो फंक्शन को ही देना एक्सेस. बट आपकी रिक्वायरमेंट ये है कि लाइक टू ऑल 10 functions in this B class, if you want to give access of this private data, in that case you make this entire class as friend class. Okay, so this is how you can take the decision and this is how you can use this concept, okay, syntactically. Now finally, points to remember: as a friend function, as the friend function is not in the scope of the class, it should not be called using the object of that class. Okay, मतलब I hope this point is clear. Just like ये लाइक हियर इंक्रीमेंट डिक्रीमेंट हम किस पे कॉल करते हैं? बी के ऑब्जेक्ट पे कॉल करते हैं, ए के ऑब्जेक्ट पे नहीं कॉल करते. Like this point is very simple. The friend function can access the member of that class using an object and dot operator. This also I have explained कि though it is a friend function, it cannot directly access क्योंकि वो member function नहीं है. It can be object through, it can be accessed through object only. It can be declared either in public and private part without affecting its meaning. This is important. See here, I've declared this class B as a friend in which section? Private section. यहाँ पे कुछ नहीं है मतलब private है. तो private में करो, public में करो, it doesn't matter. Meaning remains the same. ये friend जो आपने declare किया या private, public कहीं पे भी कर लो, meaning remains the same. Okay. So these are the points related to friend function and friend class. I'll take the attendance. Okay, your attendance is marked. What is the time? Okay, perfect. So this is about friend function and friend class. So any doubts related to this? Feel free to ask any doubt.
Ma'am, please upload the PPT.
हाँ PPT upload करती हूँ आज. Yes. For static also I haven't uploaded ना, कर देती हूँ आज.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah. Any doubts in any of the topics? Because today we have completed the first unit. आपका first unit आज complete हो गया, right? So any doubt so far? Whatever we have discussed, any doubt?
Ma'am, can a function be member of two classes at the same time?
At the same time, it can be friend of the class, but it cannot be member of two classes at the same time. It can be friend of multiple class. मतलब जैसे इनकम टैक्स का हमने एग्जांपल लिया था फंक्शन का, इट कैन बी फ्रेंड ऑफ क्लास ए, क्लास बी, क्लास सी, बट मेंबर नहीं हो सकता वो मल्टीपल क्लास का एट सेम पॉइंट इन टाइम. जैसे वो आप क्लास को आप कंटेनर जैसे ले लो कि अगर आपके पास कुछ है, सपोज some cloth you put in one container, so that cloth will become the part of that container. वो same cloth cannot be part of two container at same moment in time. Are you waiting? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, any doubts? So far, because today we have completed first unit. First unit is very important. All fundamentals were there. That's the reason I've taken so much time. एक चीज मैंने आपको relevant example के साथ explain की है. See, lifelong you need to understand object-oriented concept. हाँ, मतलब being engineering, computer engineering student, ये object-oriented concept आपके lifelong आपका पीछा नहीं छोड़ने वाले. You have to understand it with proper relevant examples. मतलब ये relevant example आप दिमाग में बिठा लो. Syntax is not a bigger issue. Syntax क्योंकि language wise बदलते रहते हैं. इंटरव्यू में भी ज्यादा फोकस कॉन्सेप्ट पे होता है, राइट? लाइक C++ इसी कॉन्सेप्ट का अलग सिंटैक्स होगा, जावा में थोड़ा अलग सिंटैक्स होगा. सो फंडामेंटली यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड ऑल द कॉन्सेप्ट. एक एक एग्जांपल हर एक कॉन्सेप्ट के लिए दिमाग में बिठा लो. जैसे स्टैटिक है तो लाइक यस्टरडे आई एक्सप्लेन्ड यू विद क्लास टीचर कॉन्सेप्ट. तो एक एक एग्जांपल हर एक कॉन्सेप्ट के लिए रिलेवेंट एग्जांपल आप दिमाग में बिठा लो. फ्रेंड फंक्शन ऑल्सो आई एक्सप्लेन्ड इट यू विथ इनकम टैक्स कैलकुलेशन एंड बैंक अकाउंट और एम्प्लॉय एंड इनकम टैक्स कैलकुलेशन. तो एक एक एग्जांपल हर एक चीज का दिमाग में बिठा लो रियल वर्ल्ड. देन इट इज वेरी लाइफ लॉन्ग आप ये दिमाग में रख सकते हो. ईच एंड एवरी कॉन्सेप्ट विल बी क्लियर इन दैट केस. अगर आप सिंटैक्स और इस पे ज्यादा फोकस करोगे तो देन इट इज डिफिकल्ट. Syntax important है to certain extent, no doubt, because you are learning object-oriented concept or language for the first time. Yes, syntax is also important. We are going to, मतलब हम भी आपको पूछने ही वाले हैं exam में questions, no doubt about it. But more importantly, to clear the interviews and all that, the concepts should be clear. कि static वो आपको एक situation देंगे, and in this situation, should I use static concept? Should I use friend concept? So you should be able to relate it with that example. Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
And first unit is very important, so that's the reason I have given so much time to explain each and everything in detail. So almost for other subject you might have seen that first unit might be completed before Diwali also, Diwali vacations, but like in our case it is very matlab sare fundamentals are there in this. Okay, so that's the reason I've taken sufficient time for this. So next time, in the next lecture, we'll start with the next unit, second unit, which is on the inheritance. And before that, I'll share all the PPTs for the first unit on our classroom. I'll be using classroom only for all the communication related to OOP, or same is the case with PBL also. Okay, so जो भी आपके materials है, assignments है, everything I want on the same classroom. Okay, and I'll share the PPTs, but those PPTs are just the brief. All the points are covered, no doubt, but you have to refer the textbooks or reference books which are mentioned in the syllabus. आप first time object oriented concept पढ़ रहे हो तो maybe Balguru Swami you can refer. See, each time I iterate, do not rely completely on notes. Being engineering student, you should have a habit to read books, textbooks, reference book, क्योंकि notes is as the name suggests, notes मतलब points है उसमें, है ना? Briefly those things are described. Of course we need notes also while studying the concept in detail. Flow क्या होना चाहिए, before we read that complete chapter we should understand each and every concept. तो एक concept understanding के लिए you can go through the notes, और फिर detail में हर एक चीज आपको पढ़नी ही पड़ेगी. Refer good books. Okay, if you want to score good, you have to refer the books. तो पढ़ना आप start कर दो. Your exams would be there. First internal evaluation will be there, which will start maybe from 22nd of this month. Okay, तो उससे पहले हमें second unit complete करना पड़ेगा. So my suggestion is, as we have completed unit 1, you start preparing unit 1. ठीक है ना? और फिर जैसे यूनिट 2 हमारा स्टार्ट हो जाएगा तो अकॉर्डिंगली यू कैन स्टार्ट विद दैट, बिकॉज यू विल नॉट गेट सफिशिएंट टाइम अदरवाइज. अभी सैटरडे संडे आप कंप्लीट कर रहे हो यूनिट 1, राइट? कंप्लीट मतलब नॉट ओनली नोट्स, विथ रिलेवेंट एग्जांपल्स एंड विथ टेक्स्ट बुक्स आल्सो, प्रॉपर टेक्स्ट बुक्स. ओके, एनीथिंग एल्स फ्रॉम योर साइड? No? Okay. So start preparing for it, and because see, if you have to understand the next concept, before that you have to understand all the fundamentals. तो मतलब आपको अगर second chapter समझना है, whatever I am talking, see, अगर आप पहले ही chapter में थोड़ा सा weak हो जाओगे तो then it will be very difficult. Okay, तो first chapter आपको कैसे भी करके revise करना है. First unit you have to revise in this Saturday Sunday. If you want to understand, if you want to be with me in the next chapter, या otherwise फिर attendance के लिए आप यहाँ पे रहोगे, you will waste your time. Okay, so revise your first unit properly in order to understand the next unit. So thank you so very much for this is all from my side. Yeah, one last point I wanted to cover. Like yesterday I got one query from one student, so वो मैं बस एक query जिनको like related to the static, it was there. Just it will take not more than 1 minute. I've taken the attendance. अगर आपको जाना चाहते हो तो you can go, but those who want can be there. Related to static, that doubt was asked. The question was like, if anything is declared as a character array or a string, okay, तो इसको हमने static कर दिया, तो can we initialize it? Integer को तो initialize कर सकते हैं, हमने देखा है. This is static declaration of class teacher, है ना? तो whenever we declare anything as static, what we need to do is उसका initialization important है. तो यहाँ पे initialization हो गया. अगर आपने नहीं किया तो compiler 0 से कर देगा उसे. So the question was, can we add a string directly here? मतलब suppose राहुल पीटर सर का आपको ऐड करना है यहाँ पे, तो is it possible to initialize the string here, है ना? So yes, it is allowed. Yes, it is allowed. See, here I am initializing. I'll execute this program. You need to understand. See, आपने पहले से राहुल सर को initialize कर दिया तो directly I'll choose second option, add student. और student को add करते हैं हम क्योंकि already हमने क्लास टीचर को यहीं पे इनिशियलाइज कर दिया, प्रोग्राम के थ्रू ही इनिशियलाइज किया है. तो आई विल ऐड दी स्टूडेंट्स नाउ. ठीक है. डू यू वांट टू कंटिन्यू? यस. और फिर आप डिस्प्ले करते हैं. थर्ड ऑप्शन इज डिस्प्ले. तो ये देखो यहाँ पे नेम ए, दिस आर द नेम्स ऑफ स्टूडेंट. और क्लास टीचर का नाम क्या लिया उसने? राहुल. बिकॉज वी हैव इनिशियलाइज इट ऑलरेडी. यहाँ पे इनिशियलाइज कर दिया है ना. हम ओवरराइड कर सकते हैं, उसे कर सकते हैं. सी हियर इफ आई से डू यू वांट टू कंटिन्यू? यस. अब हम दूसरा क्लास टीचर असाइन करना चाहते हैं या वही चेंज कर देंगे नेम. तो राहुल वाज देयर, सो नाउ आई विल से पितल. Another name will be class teacher. So do you want to continue? Yes, I want to continue. And option is 3. So students would remain same, the ones which I have added, and this name of the class teacher is changed. Okay, so this is allowed. You can initialize static string or character array also, not only with integer.